Everybody, and welcome back to the best of 5, the AVGL Collegiate Smite League, Indiana University and Tarrant County College. Although that wasn't actually the win for Tarrant County. They really wanted Tarrant County to win, so they gave it to them in spirit.
Well, Indiana ended up on top in a pretty dominant fashion, really, and there were a lot of picks that ended up working for them. Tarrant County, on the other hand, didn't have a lot of success anywhere around the map. VVhytry looked pretty good, but his farm was really, really down in comparison to Outlaw on the other side. Osath had a couple good plays onto Wolfking, but never got enough farm to really be able to frontline effectively up against sops. So if I'm Tarrant County, I'm looking to take away the Rachetier from Sheyka, maybe even before that Thoth from Outlaw, because Outlaw is able to do so well in that game because of how well Sheyka did.
Yeah, I mean, Sheyka and sops were really the big setup for Outlaw in the late game. You saw it in that Gold Fury fight. Set up the board to be able to stun out 2 members to set up that final judgment for him. But now that Tarrant County has first pick, might look to take something away from him.
Yeah, Rachetier being a first pick wouldn't be a bad idea here for Tarrant County. I mean, it's such a safe early pick. You're not giving any strategy away. You could even put it in the solo lane if you really want to take another assassin. Solo Rat still perfectly viable in this meta. So I really would like to see Tarrant County prioritize that pick and keep Sheyka off of it.
And now it's the question of what does Tarrant County take away first from Indiana? Last time we saw it was the Kukulkan and the Ravana, looking to focus kind of more towards Sheyka more than anything else. But this time, do you ban away the Rachetier? Do you leave it open to pick it for yourself?
I mean, it depends on what Glaivus wants to go for in the jungle. And you said last game that Rachetier is within his god pool. So if I'm Tarrant County, I'm probably sticking with similar bans. You can maybe switch one of those out if you really need to take away Thoth and then pick the Rat. But it's going to be Tarrant County banning it away right away instead.
Look at Sheyka. He's so happy on that. He's just like, they took a Rat of all gods away from me. RTO, a standard ban. I don't think really anybody wants to let this god through.
Now it's Tarrant County's choice. Do we want to ban the Kukulkan away, the Ravana, one of those two that we went with last time? It was the Osiris that they prioritized early to keep it out of Sheyka's hands as well. Could be something like that. Now, Glaivus on the Kukulkan, I said I love the pick, but Glaivus to me did not look particularly comfortable on it there. He had one really good play in mid on it, otherwise not the best. So maybe Glaivus should try and get a god that he seems a little bit more comfortable on.
Well, they're going to ban the Thoth away. Outlaw was on point with every single one of those shots in the late game. If he didn't kill somebody, he put him in the near-death threshold of it. And a Raijin ban, again, standard ban. We've seen it taken away from a lot of mids, but VVhytry specifically, one of his premier gods.
Kukulkan, the first pick for Tarrant County, and I like where their head's at with that one. I mean, it was banned away last game. This will be Indiana getting Osiris on the backside, but for my money, I think Kukulkan usually ends up being a little bit more impactful, but I love these 2 picks from Indiana. They get the warrior pressure on the right-hand side. Ravana, almost certainly in the jungle. Osiris in the solo. Your buffs are gonna be under pressure, and Lord knows your mid laner is gonna be under pressure.
I mean, that's the thing with these Indiana guys, especially between Sheyka and Wolfking, is they can flex both of these guardians, the warriors very well into the solo lane. I have seen Wolfking play the Ravana and Sheyka take the Osiris into the jungle. We'll see what they elect to. Once again, Rachetier gonna try and pick up that Geb, but on the flip side again, Ganehsa going to be locked in.
And you know what? Sabbeth looked so good on this Ganehsa last game that I've got no problem with him going back to it. Now, it's a matter of what sops is going to go for. If I'm Tarrant County, I'm almost certainly banning away Artemis just to keep him off of a comfort pick.
Well, they're going to, again, try and focus out Glaivus more than anybody else, taking the Nemesis off the board yet again. We saw how well it worked, but again, they're running the triple tank this time around, so not surprising to see it taken off.
Could be a Susano ban here, but that could just mean that Kukulkan goes to the jungle for Tarrant County. I feel like that's the pretty strong pick in the jungle role right now, but it is kind of risky because if you lose that early pressure, kind of like Tarrant County did last game, then you're in a tough spot.
I mean, we have seen Glaivus run this Kukulkan, even when it's open for the solo lane. Osath typically doesn't go for this hyper-aggressive style warrior. He's usually more of the kind of passive, just kind of farm up warriors, you know, gods like Shock. Even Vamana back in the day was one of the ones he loved to run to.
Wonder if he could pull out the Xingqian then. I mean, that's been a pick that's been really impactful in the solo lane during this SCL land, during the SPL Super Regionals the week before. That's a pick that's done very, very well. Now, I'm not a big fan of mixing high pressure and low pressure on the right side of the map. I think if you've got something like Kukulkan jungle, you want to fight fairly early on. Xingqian does not want to fight early on. That doesn't really mesh well with me, but if that's the kind of style that Tarrant County want to go for, just trying to get Osath a comfort pick that he can kind of farm out the mid to early game, then Xingqian has been really, really good so far in the last 2 weeks and could be a good pick here.
You can see Sops. He was just chilling there. They're all like, "Really? You're just gonna take the Ho Yi away? Okay, well, we'll just kind of let that Ho Yi be its own thing."
Hun Bat's the other band for Indiana. So last time it was a Susano up against Glaivus, but now the Hun Bats trying to take away some more team fight disruption. Plus, Susano does have some problems at killing tankier characters. He's great at killing squishies, but just doesn't have enough damage usually to bring down something like a Ravana in the jungle.
Well, they're going to be using them every second they have for Tarrant County to try and figure out what this last ban is going to be. Do they take the Artemis away, or do they try and maybe focus out the mid lane a little bit more, try and push Outlaw a little bit further into his god pool?
It is going to be the Artemis ban, and honestly, I like
Feels
it.
good.
I mean, Sops did so well in that game that you may as well try and keep him off of a pick that he already proved he can play well at LAN.
Well, now option goes back to Indiana. They need their mid, they need their hunter. Sops, we mentioned he's got the god pool. With Outlaw's thought taken away, this might look more towards, with the soul being gone, a Raw might be possible for him. He does like to go to it. The Kukulkan is something that he likes to kind of bring out for the funsies.
I mean, he's got plenty of frontline dive in order to try and get past that front line and get into the back line, and if he can pick up something long range like a Raw or a Kukulkan, that could end up working out. Hachiman the pick probably for Sops in the duo lane. Can't imagine they're going to put a hunter in mid with this much physical on the roster. But I love this Hachiman selection. I mean, just such an overall strong hunter right now. The exact opposite of Artemis in a lot of ways, because his early game is really good. He's safe, and he can play well from a distance. And then in the late game, he's still an ADC. I mean, ADC's late game are going to do damage basically no matter what.
And one thing to note is you could see that Indiana, they let pucmm have his god last time around. Now that they've seen what it can do, they're just going to say, okay, well, have your pick of the litter, whatever you want. And this time, he's going to swap over to the Medusa, something that we haven't seen pucmm pick up before yet in the AVGL.
Interesting. So trying to go for a little bit more team fight presence with it. That Kukulkan is going to be going into the solo lane with the Serqet selection for Glaivus, and it is the Kukulkan there in the mid lane for Outlaw. Just good objective burn composition right now for Indiana. They've got the Ganehsa, who can lay down the Dharmic Pillars and blow through those objectives very, very quickly. Heavenly Banner works great to help with objectives, because not only does Hachiman get extra attack speed, but the whole team gets extra attack speed. And then Kukulkan Ultimate is one of the best at securing these objectives. Indiana did so well around playing around things like Gold Fury last game, that drafting a composition that does that well again is very, very smart.
And not only that, you couple it with the Ganehsa, who's a great god for setups, has the root to the knockup with the slam. You have the Lord of the Afterlife from the Osiris. You have Ravana, who can slow and root them down. And it's a lot of good targets for Kukulkan to be able to get those big Serpent of the Nine wins off. But on to the flip side, we can see this time, instead of the Kabrakan, it's a little bit on the opposite side. The Serqet was the lock-in for Glaivus.
Yeah, it's a little bit more pick-oriented. He wants to find one or two people alone and try and make a play there. But the rest of the team fight, the rest of the composition for Tarrant County is very team fight oriented. So this Serqet pick, I'm not sure how well it fits. I mean, if he can get off to a lead and then transition that to VVhytry or transition that over to the dual lane for pucmm, then sure, it works out great. But I mean, Medusa, you pick her to team fight better as an ADC. Soul is a team fight mage. Kukulkan team fights very, very well. Now, he can also 2v2 brawl, just like Serqet can, so that's where I'm looking for Tarrant County to put the pressure early on, is in that solo lane, because otherwise, Serqet just doesn't really bring a lot to team fights.
No, but the one benefit they have is they have the Geb to help out. So whether Glaivus decides to go the tanky or the damage-oriented Serqet, he's got that get-out-of-jail option with the Geb shield to be able to really help him out. And we've seen that a lot where you give them the Serqet, okay, well, either we pick Geb or they're going to get Geb to kind of help out here. But we are about ready to get into game number 2. Indiana, they're up 1-0.
Now, that's a good point, is if Glaivus wants to go for the tankier option to try and build as an initiator for Tarrant County, that might end up working out pretty well. Rachetier on this Geb had trouble initiating in game number 1. His initiations weren't at the right time, weren't onto the right target sometimes. So trying to hand that responsibility over to Glaivus, if he wants to go for tanky Serqet, is a pretty decent option to try and switch up Tarrant County's engage.
And it is going to be Wolfking taking the Osiris into solo with Sheyka on the Ravana jungle. Pretty standard coming out of that one. More so what we would expect than usual. And here's what the early game, mid-game, late game is going to be for Kukulkan. Just going to drop a tornado and kill everything.
Exactly. Now, Sops is starting in the duo lane and trying to get some pressure against Rachetier, who is left alone now in this lane. On the right-hand side, Sheyka, along with Wolfking, pushed that wave underneath the tower because Glaivus and Osath started their own speed buff, just trying to get that buff guaranteed for themselves, knowing that Ravana Osiris is going to have the better clear in the early game.
Yeah, and Ratch, he's just going to be fine sitting here trying to farm up on his own. Geb Clear, we all know it's bad. Geb Clear just takes too long early on to get anything, so just leaving them there just to safely farm, keep sops at bay more than anything else is fine for them.
And Sheyka and Wolfking actually lose the clear battle there. They were a little bit late to the lane, and so Osath and Glaivus going to be able to secure their own blue buff. No way that Indiana want to fight that with Osath being ready to transform into that rage mode. So good start for Tarrant County on the right-hand side. They don't lose any of their buffs. They do lose the fire elementals. That's not too much of a loss to just get that one neutral objective going the other team's way.
Yeah, and Oracle Harpy's going over to Indiana. They'll be able to have that vision, which I don't think Tarrant County is really looking for a super early objective, especially with a Serqet early on. Typically, if you have a more burst assassin early on, you'd go for the quick objective. But now they just have that vision, don't have to worry. And again, a lot of priority on the solo lane.
Osath losing that transformation now, and that's why Indiana can be a little bit more comfortable pushing up. But I loved the positioning there between Glaivus and Osath because they just zoned away most of a wave from Indiana. They only got 2 or 3 archers worth of experience, and I'm not sure they got any gold from that wave at all.
No, now Osath and Glaivus are just going to sit in the back. It's 2 warriors against a warrior assassin. They just have more health. They have more base HP than more base protections. It's a little too hard to fight them on this early.
So Sheyka and Wolfking trying to do the same. They push this wave underneath the tower to try and deny some of the gold, and looks like they did get 1 archer worth of gold to Tarrant County, but still it should be going the way of Indiana.
Sheyka going to take a little bit of damage from Glaivus, going to get a couple stacks of the passive onto it, but now it's Osath that they're turning onto. He doesn't have the transformation yet. It's going to be a quick sprint pop just to get Osath out.
Horrific emblem used by Wolfking. That's what we see a lot of times from Osiris players, that aggressive relic trying to get an early kill in the lane. Good recognition by Osath to pick up the sprint, the relic that hard counters that horrific emblem. But keep in mind, horrific emblem on a very slightly shorter cooldown than the sprint, just inherently. Plus, Osath uses his after Wolfking pops the horrific emblem. So if I'm Indiana, I'm probably saying, all right, in 95 seconds, Sheyka, come back over to the solo lane. We might be able to get a kill here for free before Osath has that sprint up.
Rachetier just now coming back to the mid. He'd been in duo the entire time getting some farm up. Is level 5 now, has that advantage over Sabbeth. I wouldn't be surprised to see them get a big fight. He did opt for the Blink first relic. And
has that available. Now, not a lot of damage from Soul in the early game as Glaivus gonna blink forward, find the madness, then the last breath. But it's on 2 different targets. Wolfking and Sheyka gonna be able to get out here without really expending anything on their side.
Not only that, Glaivus threw him the wrong direction. I would have thought you would have thrown him towards your tower, but I think because of the way the knockup came through from Kukulkan's ultimate, just ended up passing out the wrong direction. Now Osath gonna get the transformation. That's gonna be the reinitiation onto it. Wolfking and Sheyka both gonna jump up. They're gonna trade 1 for 1, but now Ratch is here. Overhead kick from Sheyka is good to immune out the knockup, but it's just too much damage. Double kill for Osath.
Anytime you're fighting against Chullain, you have to keep an eye on that mana bar. It's not mana, it's his rage, and if he gets above that 85 threshold, he's going to be able to turn the fight, and that's exactly what happens there. Indiana looks like they've got a free engagement onto Osath, who had already used his ultimate, but as soon as he transforms, he gets that boost of health from the shield. He gets another ultimate available, all his cooldowns refreshed, and now better than they were before. That's just a lack of respect from Wolfking and Sheyka for how much damage Osath was going to be able to put out. He gets a double kill, and the first blood still goes the way of Tarrant County.
And not only that, it's the vent anger as well. Normally you have to use that in the human form. In the berserk form, it's guaranteed. It's up there for free. You don't have to use it, and that's a lot of damage that people really don't think about. It's a pseudo-mystical mail. Now Sops trying to go for the kill on a pucmm. Pucmm looks the wrong way. Sops just walking around the wall, but now VVhytry's here. He's going to be able to get pucmm out.
I think that Sops actually canceled his ultimate because I didn't see that shoot pucmm. Maybe pucmm got around the wall and Sops left-clicked a little bit too early.
I think so.
But either way, the moral of the story is Sops didn't do any damage with his ult, and that's a guaranteed solo kill on the pucmm if he hits it. Now, not the end of the world because he still got beads, still got ult, still's going to force pucmm back to base, but that should have been a solo kill for Sops.
It should have been one for him, but instead, like we mentioned, Sops, he's fine just sending him back to base. He's fine at least going even. Sure, getting that solo kill would help, but Rachetier has been here helping out pucmm for quite a while, both of them sitting at level 7. Ratch hasn't gone back to base yet, and this is the problem that we saw last game from VVhytry, was not going back to base at optimal times. It's 5.5 minutes, needs those boots online.
Well, by this time, VVhytry has learned his lesson. He's back to base by now. He's already got his pen boots done. Rachetier, though, you're right, does need to back, but he's probably just going to pick up Talaria boots, might be able to get the first part of Jade Emperor's crown. That little Imperial helmet would be a good pickup. Jade Emperor should certainly be the item choice for Rachetier up against the Ravana in the jungle. You got Sops doing well as well. You want to reduce that physical power early while you can.
Knock up on the Rachetier is going to be silenced out by the Ohm, but he doesn't have too much to worry about. The EI Jutsu from Sops is good, but not good enough. Rachetier's just going to be able to roll out. They got the Dharmic Pillars, 1-for-1 ultimate, but nobody's going to perish.
Sops just needs to be a little bit more patient there with the EI Jutsu. If he's able to hold that, wait until Rachetier starts the rollout, you need to interrupt that movement ability if you're going to get that kill onto Rachetier there. Instead, tries to predict it instead of just waiting until he sees it coming.
Well, pucmm going to go for the ult, but quick dash from Sops. He's going to get out of that one, and that's a big win for him because now beads are down. Wolfking going to ult basically in place, but he's going to get the double stun and the root, but Osath, he's got a second ult with that Berserk form. Just another quick kill. Now 3 for the solo laner.
Love the pressure that Tarrant County's putting on the right-hand side because neither of these solo laners are really an impact in the last game. It was really one in left and in mid. This time, Tarrant County giving Osath quite a lead.
They really know who they want to focus on. It's Wolfking and Sabbeth more than anything. Sabbeth came up big for him into the last game. Those huge Dharmic Pillars, really catching out Rachetier quite often with them. And now that pucmm doesn't have ult, doesn't have beads, he really needs to be careful against Sops. He does still have ult.
Sops could look to dive this tower, but still not enough damage with that mounted archery, even with pucmm at half HP.
Gonna get that extra range on his auto attack for that first ability. Be able to delay pucmm more than anything else. And if you can delay a back, that's just a win for you. Doesn't matter if you get the kill, just making them wait a couple extra seconds to go back.
It means that he might lose an extra minion or two to this tower, whether it's gold or experience or both, best case scenario for Sops. He's going to back to base just because he's got not a lot to do. I mean, Oracle's about to respawn. Could have theoretically stuck around for those, but he was a little bit poked out. Probably wouldn't have been able to contest against the mid and support from Tarrant County anyways. So going back to base, picking up that Cursed Gauntlet, working closer towards the Devo is a good idea for Sops. Just trying to maximize your time back in base so that you can stay as strong as possible.
And pucmm going an opposite route on his stacking item. Instead of the Devos, we can see him going towards the Transcendence, but mid lane engagement onto Rachetier. The Serpent's gonna connect. Sheyka ends up picking up his second kill onto Ratch. Just got caught out and 2 big ults take him down.
Really nice accuracy there out of Outlaw from a distance with the Serpent and the 9 wins. Just so much extra damage coming out of that Kukulkan ultimate. And going back to what puckm's going for here in the duo lane, it is going to be a Transcendence, I'd imagine, for this Medusa. And it makes sense. Medusa does have a lot of abilities that do a lot of damage. Her scaling is good, and that's why I was talking about her being a teamfight hunter. She can teamfight very well. But I think Devourer's Gauntlets are just too valuable right now that you don't really want to give that up, even for Transcendence. I would have rather seen pucmm go the Devo Gloves route.
Osath just throwing out the friendly taunts again, his opposing solo laner, Wolfking. They haven't really had much chance to slapbox. The thing about these teams and the way that our league formats is they've only met up against each other one time. That was in the round robin before semifinals to determine the seeding for the semifinal matchup. So just off that one game and then watching how all their other matches played, that's kind of where you get this matchup knowledge.
And I mean, you see these players around, though. I mean, these guys are a lot of players who play plenty of ranked, can play against one against each other in that setting. Plus, with scrims, you know, 2 teams that are this good usually end up wanting to scrim each other at some point.
Once again, on to Wolfking. Double ult's going to take him down very quick. Sheyka a little late on the rotation because now there's 3 members staring him down. Sabbeth's going to throw out the pillars, but most of it is in the wall. Not going to be very effective for him.
Sprint was used there by Osath as well, but Osath's in some trouble. Spear of the 9 wins, comes through, but it's too late. Osath going to be able to escape until Sheyka follows him up and over the wall, but that baits Sheyka into an easy kill for VVhytry.
Taunted back into the Supernova. Every tick of it hit, and that ability, one shot, even an extra tick after, does a lot, but when you get caught in all 8 to 9 shots, it is devastating.
Really good play there by Tarrant County, and Indiana just a little bit off the mark with their ultimate combination. If Outlaw it is a little bit less hesitant on that Spirit of the 9 wins, that connects, which kills Osath, which means that Sheyka doesn't need to go over the wall to finish him off, which means Sheyka lives. So it's just kind of one of those waterfall effects. Not all doom and gloom for Indiana. Sheyka's willing to trade his life for Osath at this stage because Osath was 4-0 at that point. So he was worth plenty of gold, and Sheyka ends up getting more than enough to make it worth it, his life, but still would have rather had that gold probably go to Outlaw in a safe manner than Sheyka having to give up his life for it.
Now, looking in towards the stages of the game here, both teams not really having the best of late games. Tarrant County looking to probably have the better of it with the Soul, having the Geb as well. Geb only gets better as the game goes on, as well as the Soul, just because of how much base damage and scaling, as well as her passive that she has. Indiana, I'm not seeing too much late game out of them.
I agree with you. They really need to turn it up in the mid game if they want to be effective. Though Outlaw's build is very late game oriented.
Wow.
He just was able. He back to base, bought boots one, then came back out and just stayed around until he could finish off Warlock Sash. Now, I'm usually a big proponent in no double stacking because penetration is so important. But if you could finish off your Warlocks and your Book and start stacking both by the 10-minute mark, you're probably going to be doing okay. Now, a lot of Kukulkans want to pick up cooldown boots because they have mana on them, which augments his power due to Kukulkan passive. But in this instance, with your delaying your pen by this much, I would much rather see Outlaw go for penetration boots to at least get a little bit to carry him through until he can finish off a Spear of the Magus or an Obsidian Shard. But normally, really against double stacking, when you can finish it this early, I think it's actually very smart from Outlaw.
Especially since he's already full stacked the Book of Thoth. I always feel that that's kind of the quintessential item for a Kukulkan, just because of how much mana it's going to give you. You almost have to pick it up. One of the few items and one of the few gods to say you have to grab for that. But the Warlock, it's not only going to give him extra HP and extra power, it's going to give him even more mana as well.
Exactly. You get more mana just based on the base and on the stack, so you're getting, a 1.5 times the power, basically, than it would give another character. Outlaw's just going to have a stupid power number at the end of this game. It's just a matter of if he's going to be able to get there and be effective with it.
He's going to be the late game hitting
it's already
those.
At 330? Holy cow. That's crazy. And it's going to be going up every wave because of the Warlock Sash stacks.
I mean, look how much mana he's already at. He's sitting at 21, 25. He's at level 13 right now and 1,600 HP to him. This is going to be a ridiculously tanky Kukulkan late game, and with that extra power he's going to get, I mean, like you said, we're going to be looking at some stupid power numbers.
Now, he has to be careful for this time because he doesn't have any boots quite yet, so that mobility is going to be down, but he's already chunking. I mean, he just took a quarter, a third of Glaivus' health with one tornado.
I mean, Tornado, remember when Tornado did 6 ticks of damage?
Yeah, that was those were fun times.
Those
I
were
enjoyed
not
it.
Fun. Those were
no, trust me, it was fun.
No,
yeah.
I mean, we're mid laners. We both love that kind of damage. And Wolfking, again, the priority for this team. Dark Pillar's going to be dropped down, but Glaivus with the dot from last breath. Going to be able to pick up Wolfking. Osath just barely scraping out of that.
That's big damage out of Outlaw, but again, Wolfking the focus, now 0-4, and in all honesty has done a good enough job at staying close to Osath, even with how much pressure's been put onto him, but still risky now for this Gold Fury to be pulled by Indiana.
Well, we talked about the stacking guidance. pucmm getting his Transcendence online, going to turn around and throw out the ult. A little too much damage for Sops. He's going to have the shell pop from Sabbeth to keep him alive. VVhytry in the Disapparate, a little low in mana. Not going to be able to find the shot onto Sops. Blink in from Sheyka into 4 people. He's going to find pucmm, but he's going to trade his life away. VVhytry grabbing that one.
Glaivus actually just jumped right into that tornado, and now Sabbeth's looking for him. That turn of fate might be enough to pick up this kill, but Glaivus has a Deathbane to get away. Outlaw now in some trouble because Osath is back from lane and back from base in that tornado, the thorns. Another reason why we don't see a lot of Kukulkan right now, because now Osath just gets to intentionally sit inside that tornado and say, I'm going to take some damage, yeah, but so are you.
You're going to take a lot more than I will, especially when he starts getting those defenses online. You can see Wolfking now looking towards his magical defense item, whether that's the Shogun's Kasari or not. He still has the Genji's Guard as an option and the Oni Hunter. He's got a lot of options to us with that build alone. VVhytry
getting pressured out by Sops, who's doing plenty of damage. He played that last team fight really aggressively, but good peel from Sabbeth got him out of there. Now it's Tarrant County risking it for the biscuit here. I mean, Osath and Glaivus both very low, trying to do this Portal Demon, but got just enough health to get it done.
I mean, what kind of biscuit are they going for? We're talking a Red Lobster biscuit? We're talking Olive Garden breadsticks? Like, what are we going for?
I would never. You're calling an Olive Garden breadstick a biscuit?
Well, not really a biscuit, but
no,
I mean it's a bread option.
Okay, I mean,
it's some good bread.
We can't just start going for all bread when we're talking about biscuits, J-Mac.
That's a fair point.
There's too many options. Cheesy biscuit from Red Lobster, a good idea.
Those are good.
Yeah, I can get on board with that.
You guys don't have it here because you're in Georgia, but Texas Roadhouse has some really good biscuits.
I've never been to Texas.
Well, if you ever come to Texas, I'm going to take you there. Texas
just for some biscuits, I'm down, dude. Let's go.
It's some good biscuits.
Whether it's breadsticks or biscuits, I'm in.
Well, now sitting at 15 minutes, Tarrant County looking a lot stronger this game than they did last time, where they started falling behind. Probably last time about 4,000 or 5,000 gold at this point. Now keeping it 1,000 ahead for themselves.
And it's all on that right side of the map as Rachetier is going to blink in that mid lane. He got beads out of Outlaw, but here comes the Spear of the Nine Winds. Not going to find a home this time, and Tarrant County's going to find Sheyka.
Sheyka just going to be able to get out for now, but the dot from Osath is going to be a little bit too much to get him out. Power of that Kukulkan really coming in strong. He does still have option to go into that rage transformation. You can see he's just barely at that threshold. Now looking to proc into it. He's going to go into the backline while the rest of his team does Gold Fury. Sabbeth being zoned out by Osath as well as sops. No one can make a route into this. Only Wolfking can get through. Gold Fury leash, tornado dropped, and that's going to be the signal for them to drop it.
Puckum needs to get that Gev shield. He took too much damage. Osath is actually in some trouble here because sops and Wolfking are on top of him, and sops going to be able to find it. Indiana gets the Gold Fury as well, stolen away by the rest of the squad.
And Tarrant County now has to be on retreat. They can elect to go for the tower now for Indiana because all members are a little too low. You can see two of them backing, Puckum sticking around as well as Glaivus, but there's 3 members in mid. Indiana, not only do they steal the gold for it, now they can take this tier 1 tower at another 500 gold.
Wow, what a turnaround by Indiana. I mean, Tarrant County was looking great so far. It was all coming out of Osath and Glaivus. So what does Indiana do? They isolate Osath. He goes a little bit too deep. Sops does a great job alongside his support of making sure he can get that kill and stay safe at the same time. And then they push forward, steal the Gold Fury. Don't know if that was Wolfking's ultimate, but whether or not he ended up getting it, to have such a bad early game, to be 0-4 and be getting crushed really, for lack of a better word, and then be able to turn it around and make a big play like that, all sins are forgiven at that point if you're conceal away a Gold Fury, because now all of a sudden Indiana, despite being down in kills, despite being really behind in momentum in this game, is up 2K gold and 2K experience.
I mean, they were down 1,000 gold at that time, and then they got Gold Fury, and they got 2 tier 1 towers, at least 2,500 gold for themselves. And not only that, the experience, you can see the big dip back up into the graphs, where it was about 1,000 each way. Now 1,000, 1,600 in their favor.
Sheyka was able to make a big play in there as well, just being that frontline warrior. He's died a lot, 4 deaths already. Between the 2 warriors on the team, they've got 8 of Tarrant County's 9 kills accounted for, but 4 kills of his own. That's 2/3 of what Indiana has gotten so far. Just been trying to get into that back line and make that impact.
Well, now they need Outlaw to start making some big impact plays for him. It started hitting those Spear of the Nine Winds, kind of whiffed the last couple of them. He really needs that extra help, that setup to get those down.
Well, he's got the pen boots now, and so he's going to be doing serious damage. His Warlock Sash is 60% done, is almost there. It's only going to take a couple more waves for that, and he's starting to work towards some penetration as well. And just like last game, VVhytry just has not been able to keep up in the item department. Now, done much better this time around. At this point last game, he was still sitting on just a Bancroft's talent. Now he's got Book of the Dead, a more expensive item than Bancroft's, and a Spear of Desolation on top of that. But in my mind, still needs to go for another pen item before he gets Rod of Tahuti. Delaying an Obsidian Shard until after Rod at this stage would just be really detrimental because of the double warrior front line for Indiana, who are going to have plenty of protection. VVhytry needs to prioritize that penetration because it works so well with Soul anyways. You want to be that tower shredder, and flat pen just doesn't really do that for you. You need that percent pen against towers.
And you see the adaptation of the solo lane builds as well. This time, Wolfking completely elected against the Mystical Mail. Didn't even go for that second defense. Went for the Shoguns first, where Osath still going for that Mystical Mail, now looking to build towards his Shoguns.
Shogun's just good at helping out the rest of the squad, as Sheyka has to get his ultimate forced because of the positioning, put him in too much danger without anyone else there, though. Even though he doesn't have any CDR, Mystic Rush on a fairly short cooldown, so it should be up as soon as he needs it.
Now all members grouping around this Fire Giant. The Portal Demon is set to respawn in about another 30 seconds. They want to try and get that objective. Last time that we saw Indiana get it, they turned around and snuck a fast Fire Giant under the nose of Tarrant County.
Exactly, and with Sops over here, it's going to make it a lot easier for Indiana to do so. Sops has just made that much more impact than Puckum has so far this game.
Osath gonna get knocked up. Give shield's gonna be good. Puckum throws out the ult, but it's only gonna slow him down. Nobody gets hit by the main part. Spirit of the Nine Winds thrown from Outlaw, but again, off the mark.
He's got to save that, whether it's for setup or securing the objective.
That's not good from Rachetier. He's not gonna land the Cataclysm now. He's stuck inside the cage. Sabbeth knocks him up. Wolfking picks up VVhytry. Now Osath's in danger. He's gonna get hit by the Tornado procs. He has to get out, but Sops finds Rachetier again. Another missed Cataclysm is gonna result in death. Osath has to use his Warcry to get Sheyka off them, but they're so low and they're so healthy from Indiana that they can just dive this all they want.
Puckum is going to fall here unless he uses that A. Gets good timing on it, but it's probably not going to buy him a life. Wolfking diving the Phoenix at 20 minutes. What a fight there by Indiana, but it's really, in my mind, more of a throne fight by Tarrant County. I mean, Tarrant County just not good relic usage by VVhytry. He needs to use Aegis there as that Sapphireate is channeling. That basically gives you like 4 or 5 seconds of immunity if you channel Aegis while Sapphireate is coming up. And then even with Osath's ultimate down, Rachetier blink Cataclysm's nothing, and it makes it very, very easy to Indiana to turn that fight because everyone steps up to try and follow up off that blink off from Rachetier.
You can see the quick beeline from Osath to get towards the Fire Giant. Now been started up by Indiana, down to about half HP, but now there's 3 members zoning away Osath to try and stop him from getting in. Ratch and Glaivus have made the rotation in. Now the Fire Giant has been leased, but again, Osath getting low. The Pillar slowing down. Spirit of the Nine Winds only going to hit Rachetier as Sheyka picks up Osath. Might be looking towards VVhytry now as the Sapphireate's down in the middle of 2 warriors. Wolfking finds Glaivus. VVhytry is going to get the shield onto him, but he's still fighting against 2 tanky members.
But Indiana is not too worried about him. Instead, they want the objective. Fire Giant pulled once more, bringing it down to half HP. Osath doesn't have the ultimate to confirm, and puckm's here full HP. Sheyka takes a good chunk of damage. There comes Supernova, but Sheyka's going to be able to escape. Meanwhile, Fire Giant's down to about 5%. No one's going to be able to get in. Indiana is going to take it away.
And now they're just going to back off. They got what they wanted. They were able to get a couple of kills. They were able to zone them out and get the Fire Giant. Now they can go back to base, buy up some items that they need, and come back stronger than they were before.
And they've got they're in a great spot right now. I mean, Outlaw's finished off Obsidian Shard, Chinsai's done for Sops, who has still been a real impact player so far in this set. He's more than doubled puckm's damage up until this point. This Medusa pick just has not worked out for puckm. And this is the matchup that we were talking about before the set even began. Sops had a really good showing during his days with Flashpoint on a team that struggled pretty heavily. Sops looked like a bright spot for them against some, the best ADCs in the world in North America. And to come into this match, you expect Sops to have the advantage, and puckm has just not been able to hold with him.
No, I mean, puckm just hadn't been able to find his footing yet. Even last game where he got the pick that he wanted, he was never able to find a footing because last time Sheyka was just consistently farming onto him in the lane, would not leave puckm alone. This time, puckm just hasn't had any opportunities. Nobody's really been over-focusing him, but puckm just hasn't been able to land those big ultimates, and that's the key to when you pick up these Medusas, is he hasn't found a single stun yet with the Petrify.
Yeah, it's been tough. And again, the ultimates as a whole from Tarrant County have not been well utilized. They've had some struggles, to say the least. Rachetier, that's 2 games in a row now where he's blink ulted the air, and that's got to change. If you're picking Geb this early for Tarrant County, you've got to be able to use it effectively, and that just has not been the case so far for Rachetier.
I mean, Ratch in his games in the semifinals, like, Geb was his go-to, and it was really what was one of the winning factors for this team, but this time it's just not coming up as big for them, and that's kind of the difference in the LAN setting, is there's a lot more reactionary on LAN than you have online. You don't have that time. And VVhytry, he doesn't have much time. He's going to be spending 45 more seconds in the base.
And after that tier 2 tower on right falls, his right side Phoenix now exposed. Only tower left standing for Tarrant County's on the left side of the map. Both Phoenixes in right and mid, ripe for the taking for Indiana.
They're going to go straight onto the Phoenix. Dharmic Pillars drop down. Osath's going to jump into the middle of him. He's going to get knocked up. Ultimate from puckm, not going to be too good for him. Osath getting Sabbeth a bit low, but he's staring down 4 members. Sheyka, what are you doing? He's going to get it under the fountain.
That's messed up, dude. That's how you know someone's feeling themselves. Outlaw's gonna get a double. All of a sudden, 4 members dead for Tarrant County. In Indiana, doesn't take them long, 24 minutes, and they'll win game 2 with ease.
Sop's gonna pick up Glaivus for the Dia side. Only the Titan left standing to face them down. Just bouncing aggro back and forth. Glaivus actually gonna get the kill on the Sabbeth because of the timing onto it. 2-0 now for Indiana.
Indiana looking really, really strong, and it has been the guys that you expect for them to look strong. It's been Sops, the former pro. It's been Sheyka, the former pro. These guys have looked really good. Outlaw's looked great as well. The Spirit of the Nine Winds in the mid to late game, not great, but his tornado placement was phenomenal. His positioning was really, really good. And it's just been the ADC in the jungle for Tarrant County just have not been able to keep up with what Indiana's putting out.
And not only that, Wolfking keeping Osath at bay, and that's a big one, is he's kind of their big factor for their team is Osath, and he hasn't really been able to make a name for himself just yet. He's kind of been just sitting there in lane, hasn't really had much of an impact.
Well, the early game was all Osath, in large part because of Glaivus, but also himself. He played very, very well. And it was that fight by Gold Fury where Indiana are able to isolate that Kukulkan, bring him down, because it's basically in this game it came down to Sops versus Osath, who was going to be able to either take the other one out of the fight. That fight, it goes Sops' way. Then Indiana get the gold, some towers on the back end of it, as we highlighted. That team fight is one that's going to break your back pretty easily. That's exactly what happens to the Trailblazers.
Yeah, I mean, that was the Gold Fury. That was the turning point for Indiana. They stole that Gold Fury. They got a few kills, and they got 2 towers off of it after that, adding 2,500 gold, swinging it heavily back into their favor. That was a big moment for them, and that's kind of the hard thing for these two teams is objective secure. It's a running joke in AVGL amongst myself is North America has a lot of trouble securing objectives.
And there's another one. And there's no easier way to let a team that you're beating back into a game than giving up a free objective like that.
Well, with that, we're going to cut it to a quick break, and then we'll be back for game number 3. It's do or die for Tarrant County. They need to bring this one back in to stay alive, but Indiana, they're going to look to try and shut it out.